All right, today's question today. So in the news today, a lot has been talked about the canceling of student debt, on how it was ruled by a judge in Texas, a federal judge, that it was unconstitutional, and they are going to cancel the student debt relief. So, what is our thoughts on it? Are we for it or against it?
I sound like an old guy, but I think it really sets a weird precedent to just have you voluntarily take on debt and then have someone else just have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a strange thing. So I was kind of against canceling the student debt because no one really forcing them to take on that debt to begin with.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I don't have debt. Yeah, I have like very little student debt, so but I'm not going to be upset if other people benefit from it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the only argument like I hear is that you hear a lot about like businesses getting bailed out or billionaires getting bailed out and stuff like that, and then like why, or we spend a ton of money on the military or and other countries and stuff, and it's like, why don't we help out our own people, our own country, and try to close the wealth gap that there tends to be. A lot of Americans are in student debt, which you would think like if you helped out with that, that would help out with the economy a little bit. But me as somebody, I don't have student debt, so thankfully my wife does. Whatever, I am thankful if it that there is some assistance, but I'm not necessarily really upset. I'm not upset either way. Like, it doesn't really affect me. I mean, I do see the argument where having once you willfully signed up for something, you should definitely pay it off.
So my thought with that is, I mean, yeah, a lot of times you are 18, you are an adult when you do start that college loan stuff. But I went through it. I wasn't eligible for any kind of financial aid, so it was all up to me. And my parents were big, or at the time they were big, like, you have to go to college. Like, you can't live in my house if you don't go to college. So I was like, I have to go, but it was like I got paid for it somehow. And then like the company, the place that I used to get my student loans made it like very easy. It's like they want you to do it. It seems a little predatory, and I'm gonna be honest,
a little predatory.
Very,
That's being nice.
Very, especially on these 17, 18-year-old kids. They're kids. Like, they're not bright. Sometimes, most of the time, like you're very naive, and a lot of kids are in bad situations. Like, their only out is to go to college and do stuff. And what if you can't pay for it? That's So why? That's my argument with the whole, like, I didn't force you to take loans out, but it's like some people, like,
they felt
everybody's situation.
The pressure was there for sure, because I grew up. You probably did. We all did. Where it was like we were taught, like, you gotta go to college. Like, that's the only way you can be successful. Nowadays, like, you hear a lot of people say, you don't have to go to college to be successful. You can literally learn a trade. You can start your own business. Like, there's so many other ways. Like, but that was not the talk that we were hearing growing up.
It wasn't even.
It was. We were groomed to like with the mindset of having to go to college.
Yeah, I mean, that was 2015, and it was the talk was completely different then than compared to what it is now.
And several generations ago, it was not that expensive to go to college. It was, you could, I mean, a lot of people were able to pay off their college debt because it wasn't what it is like it is today. Now it's like more than it is to owning a house, in a lot of cases.
I would say worse because it's not dischargeable in bankruptcy. Most loans, medical debt, which is a big problem, as well as like mortgage stuff, you can file bankruptcy and jack your credit up, but it can go away in 7 years.
Yeah.
Like the federal student loans, no, that doesn't get rid of it either.
No.
You can't escape it.
Right. I would say the better fight, and this is my opinion, I get the argument for sure. I think the better fight maybe to fight against the high interest rates, because that is what's really crippling. I mean, there's people that have been made every payment on time for like 10 years, and have barely put a dent into paying it off.
I think they should be. I'd be fine with no interest on student loan debts.
Mhm.
That seems.
I feel,
something.
and then I feel like honestly maybe
Because
like
it shouldn't be there to make money. To make money off of push people to go to school is different than pushing them to go to school.
yeah, but at the same time, I'm not against others getting help if needed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I really do feel like a lot of people are working, things paid off, but it's just, you know, stuff happens or whatever. So I'm not against other people getting assistance, but at the same time, I don't know. I think the better fight is just to cancel the interest rate. I think that would help out a lot because then that also helps future borrowers also, so they can actually get an education, go to a good school, and help pay it down much faster.
Or lower tuition costs.
Yeah, or lower tuition costs, right?
Yeah, that's out of control. Well, I think it's just a strange thing though. Like, what do those of us that are parents?
Mhm.
One thing you attempt to teach your kids about growing up is that actions have consequences. So, like good and bad. Like everything you do has good and has bad consequences, and you get to deal with both. And that's part of being an adult. You
Yeah,
deal with both consequences, good and bad, of whatever actions you choose to make. I think this really sets a strange precedent for that. Like, you know what, you do this, but we'll just take care of it.
yeah,
And we'll have everyone else that actually does earn money pay for it.
you.
Old crikey man. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I get both arguments, but like, I mean, it would definitely benefit us. Like my wife, if she got hurt, cancer, whatever. But like, do we have? But does that mean we not intend on paying for it? We do, you know. But any help is better than no help. And I'm not, you know, just I don't know. Like if say they were just like, oh, we're going to waive off $10,000 in auto loans, even though I paid off my car. I'm not going to be upset that other people got help. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
you know, that's just my thing. I think you do make a great point, though, is that, like, we do got to make people have a mindset that they do have to have some sort of accountability for their actions. And if they sign up for something that, like, you're committed to this, like, you have to do this. And I get that, too.
And I probably, if I were on the side of it where there was student loans, I would probably, even with my view of being against canceling, I would probably do it if it was offered. It's one of those things because
Yeah.
I will always pay as little as legally owed to anybody like
Hey.
that.
Exactly. And then another thing is, like, if they do cancel student loans, say if they did, or well, it turns out they're not anymore, but if they were, how does that help out future people that go to, like, so they're still going to continue to borrow? Are they going to have their stuff forgiven also? Like, where does that go for the future? I feel like that also needs to be addressed a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. Because it's a hard thing to know where to draw the line because they have like whatever income requirements. So first of all, you make $1,000 too much, you don't get it canceled. So that sucks. that part of it sucks.
Yeah.
And you're the person that paid it off last week. Oh, by the way, now you could not paid it. That sucks.
Yeah.
People coming into it, do they not have to pay? Like, is the first 10,000 free? And I know this. Like, there are ways to get some of this money from a lot of different places, but it inevitably comes from the taxpayer. Inevitably, some taxpayer. Sometimes it's companies. Maybe they should close those corporate loopholes so it's not offshore and all that money nonsense. They take care of it, no problem.
Yeah.
So if your whole thing, if your argument thing is, you know, taxes and somebody's got to pay for it, I mean, if you know you want your taxes to go to something that's going to, you know, benefit something, isn't a smarter society and more highly educated society better?
There is an argument for that, and you're right. The better the education. The only thing that I think about too with that is, I don't know, what somebody wants isn't always what's best for them. And I'm not that much older than probably some college kids now and stuff like that. Maybe 20-something years, maybe a little bit. But the world isn't part of college to learn how the world works. Isn't that part of it? To set you up for real life? Because that is not real life.
Yeah.
It I thought. I mean, yeah, I guess that's part of the college experience, but I mean, I did like 2 years of college. I mean, I didn't graduate or anything, but
Yeah.
My time in college was more like I learned that what I hate, what I don't want to do, more than really
Yeah.
like telling me what the real world is or whatever. But
Or maybe make college degrees more valuable.
Yeah.
Justify some of the cost.
And
So you're
that's-
not fighting for your job at Starbucks to get people.
And that's another argument.
they're not as valuable. As they
They're
used
not
to
as valuable as they used to be. You're hearing a lot of stories about people how they have degrees and they can't even get a phone call from a lot of employers, or they're getting jobs at places that don't require a degree. So it's like, what was the point of me or of them spending all that time getting that degree, spending all that money, and then at the end it didn't really make a difference?
Yeah, and
That's another argument. You know, but,
an argument you see a lot too is like people that think they should be paid comparable to others with a similar level of education, which I can see that side of it.
Hmm.
But people know when they go to college, right? I haven't been in college in a while, but you know what the high earning degrees are and the low earning degrees are, right?
Yeah.
That's not like hidden.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
cherry pick that.
So you if you're going to go into something once again knowing that maybe you're not going to make a ton, maybe you'll love it and not make a ton, or hate it and make a ton of money.
yeah,
Like you know the general kinds of outcomes. It's not you can look at Wikipedia
yeah,
and know what degrees earn the most money, what earn the least amount of money
yeah.
off the bat.
That is true.
yeah, but I mean, if everybody picked, like, not everybody can do all those
No, you're
high level degree, high level jobs. Like, we don't need everybody going to be like what everybody sees, like pharmacists, anesthesiologists, and like pilots. Like, not everybody gonna do
And
that.
oil riggers,
Yeah, and the
high
fact,
risk jobs.
and actually, the
Yeah.
more people did that, the less they would pay because the demand would be not
Well,
not as high.
What I see a lot, just from my experience, is on just social media, internet, is a lot of the people that do like advocate for it are like teachers. Like, I mean, I have friends, I have people I went to school with that are already teachers, and I'm like, you need them. Like, people complain there's a teacher shortage everywhere, not enough of them.
Mhm.
But then when they're coming out of college after 4 years of education, you know, that's every bit it can be
Mhm.
$120,000 in debt now, and
Yeah.
they're coming out making $35,000 a year,
Mhm.
and then they have $900 student loan payments every month. They're like, I went to school to be a teacher,
Yeah.
to like teach the youth,
Yeah.
and now I'm dying out here. Like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think student loan debt
Yeah.
works really well in situations like that.
Mhm. I agree. You know, I agree. I definitely agree.
And I think it's a problem.
Mhm.
I'm not sure canceling it necessarily is the best solution. But I
Yeah.
agree that
Yeah.
it is a problem, and it's part of, I think, the problem of a kind of broken education system as a whole.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say there's a lot to this.
There's a lot to
Yeah,
unpack.
they need to address the obvious price gouging that's going on. The textbooks should not be that much. Courses should not be that much. I don't know. There's obviously it's just too expensive. That is clear as day. And then the interest rates, tackle the interest rates, and I feel like it would make things a whole lot better. But the fact that if you can make payments on time with not missing a payment for 10 years straight, and you're still not making any significant difference, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm not saying that we should cancel the debt, but definitely there's an issue that needs to be addressed for sure.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, and there's so many, and it goes so many deep. I mean, it's the education, the medical. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be addressed for sure.
Well, and the ones that is it the ones making their payments on time where it's not going down, or is the ones where like it's deferred, like oh you can not pay anything but interest for the next like 5
No,
years? Isn't that something?
I mean,
I'm not.
I can only go off of what people say. You know, what's really happening, I don't really know.
Good.
But like, I read on Twitter when I do like the trigger graphics, or when I'm reading about all this stuff and I'm hearing comments, and they say that like they make every payment on time. A lot of people do, but the interest rates are just so high that they're able to really go into the principal a lot of the time. Like they just, and so it just, after 10 years of making their payments on time, it just doesn't really go down. It doesn't make a difference. You know, but of course, I don't know the whole story to every individual. You know, I'm just going off of what I've read. And I know from like my wife, I mean, she's been making all of her payments on time, you know, and stuff. It wasn't until recently because of COVID when they froze everything, you know, and she couldn't make payments. But that's not on her. That's on them freezing it. You know, that's not her doing. But, Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I think some help needs to give. I think cancel the interest rates. That's my
Yeah,
take.
I think it's a short-term fix. I'm all for it though happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, short-term like that. There's
Yeah,
deeper
that's what I
issues.
said.
Exactly.
We gotta do more, but sure. It doesn't affect me.
I'm not. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care if people get help.
Yeah, I do know. Reading all the stuff going on now, I'm sometimes like maybe I did make the right decision because I never knew what I wanted to go to college for. So maybe I made the right thing on not going and wasting money on a degree that I wasn't so sure if I wanted to begin with.
Now this is not ignorance, so it isn't like the federal student loans. Who actually like owns the balance of those? Is it like the federal government or like some like government
think they're-
institution?
I would say the banks, right?
Um,
I don't know.
I know my situation is really simple compared to people. I just use Sallie Mae, and I've just been paying like $150 for like since 2017 every month. That's just what I've been doing. So I know mine's not like terrible by any means. I don't even know who.
And it's not like part of like similar like Freddie Mac and all that. It's like a federal. It's like kind of independent, but kind of the government. Because I'm just thinking like if you have like
something that, yeah.
if just thinking about inflation as we talk about that stuff, if you just artificially bump like $500 billion that was not there yesterday, that's there today,
Yeah.
I feel like that would cause inflation.
I was gonna
Mhm.
say there's probably an issue with canceling it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
keep printing money, eventually your money's worth less.
Yeah.
We learned that the
Yeah.
hard way.
Mm-hmm. I was like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who owns mine or whatever. I just pay it. It's simple, but
Yeah. This is a hard one to answer. I guess I'm just for helping others, so I'm gonna go with I'm for it. But I do think
I'm for helping others. So if I'm against it, I'm against helping others.
no.
I'm helping others.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. But like, I do think that there needs to be something else that gets addressed other than just canceling student debt. I think they need to do other things than that.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm gonna say cancel it and throw more problems on top of what we already have. Just keep going with it.
Pass on canceling student
Pass
debt.
it. Okay. All right. And then which?
I'm for it. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, there we have it. That's a good discussion.